With free agency starting today, many Lions fans are hoping and praying that Brad Holmes is about to make some moves. But dare I say it, I believe that Brad Holmes has been cooking all along and he's about to present a masterpiece. We're going to talk about it, so stay tuned.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10-5 end zone touchdown Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions friends, fans, and family members. Welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike. And as always, we're diving on in. Folks, I know that for this offseason, at least the introductory part of it anyway, it's been a maddening experience if you've been a Lions fan. Especially if you're one of those that I've talked about, that are very much irate, very much irritated about what Brad Holmes has done so far, especially when it comes to the edge rushing component. I know there are a lot of Lions fans. Some of them have talked to me personally and have stated they've lost faith. They don't think Brad Holmes knows what he's doing, that he's out of touch. I understand where you're coming from. I get it. But again, I'm going to say this once more. I think everybody needs to calm down, needs to back the hell up a moment, and needs to take the horse blinders off and realize that what Brad Holmes is doing is setting up moves for other actions to happen, for other things to occur. Again, we have to understand something here. I understand 100% that everybody takes a look at what the Lions have in terms of salary cap and they're like, oh man, we got all this money. We need to use it. Okay, that's one way of doing things. However, though, it's not the right way of doing things. Again, let me just put some examples out there of what that kind of thought process has led to in the NFL. When you have teams that spend virtually every dime they have on players, you have teams like the Saints, the Cowboys, and all these other teams that are literally at the end of the season so strapped for cash that they either have to renegotiate deals, restructure them, cut players, whatever the case is, so that way they can get from out being under the red and get back in the black. Notice how every time we've had Holmes here, we've never once, ever had to worry about that. Now, some people might say that's because, Brad Holmes is a bargain bin shopper. And to a certain extent, I will understand where that's coming from because Brad Holmes does like to sign a lot of low contracts that aren't going to cost a hell of a lot of money. But let's think about this here. Brad Holmes' handling of the cap situation has allowed the Lions to maintain the structural integrity of the roster that we currently have. Do you honestly think that we would be able to afford the players we have right now if Brad Holmes would have literally just blown every single dime we had over the last couple of years? There ain't no way in hell. Brad Holmes has had to be smart every single year in order to make sure the roster was in a position to compete, and not just compete, but to compete at a high level. Brad Holmes knows what he's doing. Now, again, I understand some of the moves that he's made have been questionable. I questioned the Marcus Davenport decision. But again, I will say it now to again reaffirm my position. If Brad Holmes understands what he's doing the way I think he does, he's probably banking on the fact that he's going to have Davenport more as a rotational and depth player to where there's less likelihood of him facing getting injured, and he can still be a productive member of the team. And again, if for whatever reason Davenport's able to play a multitude or a majority of the games and is able to give some decent sack production, then most people are going to look at that $4.75 million and be like, dude, that was a steal of a deal. That's exactly the way I look at it. And then when you take a look at the releasing of Zadarius Smith, again, the way I look at it is you free up a roster spot, you get back $11 million over the next 2 years, and now you have the ability to go out and get somebody better than Zadarius Smith, whether that is trading for Hendrickson, signing a Sweat, signing a Young, signing a Bosa, signing a Von Miller, whatever have you. My whole point is this. Brad Holmes is definitely going to make moves. He's not just going to sit on his thumbs and do nothing. Brad Holmes has never done that. You take a look at the last 4 off seasons, Brad Holmes has never sat on his butt and done nothing. Even when he had very little to work with, he didn't just sit on his butt and do nothing. So to think that Brad Holmes, making the moves that he's done so far and somehow, well, I don't see him doing anything else. I can't see it. I don't believe it. Bull crap. In my honest opinion, that's just absolute pessimism talking right there. Because you don't like what you're seeing right now. But again, we just started free agency today. It's not like free agency's been going on a week and Brad Holmes hasn't made a damn move yet. Now, if we get to a week and a half and Brad Holmes still hasn't made a move, then yeah, okay, I could see where you were coming from. But we haven't even started yet. And again, as far as we know, Brad Holmes could start out the gate, freaking gate for free agency fast and heavy. He could start making deals right off the bat. Who knows? But again, what I'm trying to get at here is Brad Holmes is going to make moves. And there are absolutely plenty of options that Brad Holmes can use in order to not only, one, make the fans happy, especially the ones that are complaining the most right now, but to also make sure that the Lions can continue to do what they're trying to do, which is to win Super Bowls. Not Super Bowl, Super Bowls. Again, I don't know how many times I'm going to have to keep stating this. The Lions are not interested in a one-and-done scenario. I know for a lot of people they keep saying, you got to win the first one before you can think about the next 2 or 3. Okay, but in order to win the first one, you typically have to have a roster that can compete long-term as well. Otherwise, you fall into the category of what happened to the damn Rams. And the Lions are not interested in what happened. The Lions are not interested in having happened to them what happened to the Rams. Oh yeah, we win the Super Bowl one year and then we literally fall off a cliff the next. The Lions aren't interested in that. They want to be able to say, hey, if we win a Super Bowl one year, we want to be able to compete for another one next year and the year after that. If you're going to try and do that, you have to have a special roster. You can't just, blow everything you have just to have that one shot of glory and hope it all plays in your favor. Because that is playing very dangerous, because it's like, hey, if you put everything you have on that one bet, you better hope like hell that it's going to come up. Otherwise, you've just wasted all those resources for nothing. That's why Brad Holmes is not playing I'm going to hedge all my bets on this one piece, and that's what's going to get us there. No, sir. No, ma'am. What he's doing is building things the smart way. He's building things the way that the past dynasties have built things. We're going to build slow. We're going to build efficiently. We're going to build smartly. That's exactly what Brad Holmes is doing right now. And that's why I'm saying with the options that are available to him in terms of, improving the pass rush, I keep saying this. What are y'all complaining about? We haven't even started free agency yet at the time of this recording. It's 11:30 at night at the time I'm recording this. So by the time I'm recording this, or by the time I release this, something might have changed. And if it does, absolutely. Everybody be happy, be grand, be glorious. Now you're not going to freaking be so pissed off at Holmes anymore. But it's like, dude, being pissed off at him for something he has no control over because, that's right, that's how the NFL rules work. That's just being silly in my opinion. And again, the only reason why the news about Zadarius Smith made such headway was because, that's right, we traded for him, in essence, for a 3-month rental, and, we just cut him. I understand that doesn't make a lot of sense to somebody. But again, as I've said before, Brad Holmes doesn't make any decision or any move unless he has a plan. You take a look at what the Lions have done over the entire time that Holmes has been in charge of them. Every single move he has ever made, it comes back later on that there was a reason exactly why the Lions made that move. And 9 times out of 10, it's usually a pretty damn good reason. So let's think about it. you have these options that are available in free agency. You also have the trade, and you also have drafting. I mean, for crying out loud, there is no shortage of freaking edge rushing availability this year. Absolutely none. Just in free agency alone, you've got 4 guys that if you bring in, they're instantly going to improve our pass rush. Whether it's Von Miller, Joey Bosa, Chase Young, or Josh Sweat. Those four guys right there. Provided, of course, some of them are able to stay healthy, and provided some of them are able to match what they've done in the past, those are instantly going to improve our numbers. Then, you've also got the trade market. The Lions could still very well be in play to trade for Trey Hendrickson. And if that happens, dude, you want to talk about how much, I'm serious, you want to talk about how fast the fan base that's been literally admonishing and just absolutely tearing Brad Holmes down is instantaneously going to reverse course? It's going to be so damn fast, it's going to make your head spin. It'll be like you had whiplash. And then, after all that, you still have the draft. You still have guys in the draft that Brad Holmes could make a move for, like a James Pierce, like a Mike Green, like a Jack Sawyer, like a Landon Jackson. All those guys are still available. So again, there are multiple options here that Brad Holmes can use. Some of them I think he's going to double dip into. And okay, you know what? Right now, yeah, it looks like crap because we brought back an injury-prone player to, in essence, be a rotational depth piece, and we just cut a guy that we traded for a couple of months ago. But let me just put this out there for you. There's an old saying, and it's like, how do I put this? I could have this wrong, but pretty much it is: don't sacrifice the things of tomorrow to have what you want today. It's like, listen, you know what? Today things don't look that great right now, but let's think about where this conversation's going to look like in about, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months from now, and maybe Brad Holmes has completely reworked the freaking edge rushing room, made the defense look damn near unstoppable, and then all of a sudden, Brad Holmes goes from being this freaking, admonished figure right now in Lions fandom to now he's the golden child again. He's the guy who can't do no wrong. He's the guy that absolutely outsmarts everybody like he's been primarily for the last 3-4 years. That's what I'm saying. I know right now there are a lot of Lions fans that are pissed off at Brad Holmes. But you know what? I go back to what I said about the economic stuff a day or so ago. Sometimes you have to have what's known as productive destruction. You have to destroy something that might look good right now, but what you're doing is you're getting rid of it in order to get something better. That's what I believe the whole move with Zadarius Smith was. It's not just, that's the end of it, and we're not going to do anything else following that. No, sir. I fully expect that Brad Holmes is going to do something to replace Zadarius Smith. And I fully expect that whatever he's about to do, it's going to be better than what we had with Zadarius Smith. And I'm not saying that Zadarius Smith was bad. I know he was a good player. But you know what? Obviously, the Lions felt that they could do better than Zadarius Smith. Otherwise, they would have kept him. And if the whole point of you guys is wanting to win a Super Bowl, aren't you wanting to get the best available product that you can? Isn't that exactly what you're telling Brad Holmes you want him to do? Because here's what I know for a fact. A lot of people I've talked to in my various comments have made the comment about, what if we cut Zadarius or trade him and we get somebody else? What exactly is different about that, those types of comments versus now? Except for the fact that, we didn't get somebody back exactly the same instant that we made the cut or trade of Zadarius Smith. What if it takes an extra day or two before that happens? You're still getting what you want. That's my whole point. Patience is a virtue here. Brad Holmes, I guarantee you, is going to make moves. He's going to do something out of the options that are presented to allow the Lions to have a chance to make the Super Bowl runs that they're wanting. And I guarantee you it's also going to make the fan base happy. I'm just telling you. You just need to be patient. And I know that is a phrase that a lot of Lions fans don't want to hear. But if there's one thing we have learned with Brad Holmes is that, listen, sometimes it takes a couple of moves before you can set up something. Sometimes you can't just do it right away. You can't just get that instant gratification. You have to wait a little bit. That's fully what I expect is going on here. And I fully expect that Brad Holmes is about to make his move. I am willing to bet money on it. Not with anybody on here because I don't gamble with strangers. I'm using that as a euphemism. But anyway, I've said my piece. I'm going to end this episode. And having said that, I just want to say thank you all for watching another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage you all to do one of these three things. Like, comment, and subscribe. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, I want to highly encourage you all, please make sure you hit that bell notification icon so that way you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Also want to highly encourage you all, please, to share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you possibly can. The more we can share it, the greater the channel can grow and spread. And with that being said to everybody, I hope you all are doing well. I hope you all got something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless, my friends. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.